What is up,
everybody?
YouTube?
Oh, there we go. How's everyone doing?
KJ, I'm
Welcome.
doing great. Thanks for asking.
I'm so glad you're doing great. It's been a great day. Make sure, I don't know if yours automatically does it, but I always have to change my Facebook audience to public. That way you can see the comments.
Do you do that in Facebook or in this thing?
So, funny thing, when I added Joseph added his Facebook on here, it gave me the option. When I did it, I deleted myself and tried to redo it to have the option. It doesn't let me. So I have to go on my Facebook page and change it every single time. But some people don't. I don't know. Hi, Brendan, Kelly. Thanks. I'm glad you liked the intro. We were switching it up. Oh, I love this purple color. It looks good. Awesome, guys. Welcome, everybody who's joining in. We'll be going over everything multifamily. This is designed to answer everybody's questions, whoever has them. Oh, I was going to post a reminder on Instagram, but Joseph has my phone. So I guess it'll wait.
So, I guess, we're waiting for a couple people to jump on. We can just kind of talk about some stuff that we got going on.
Yeah, it works. Oh, Oscar and Ione are here. Hey.
Got the legendary Ione in the house.
He's been forcing me to join, so I'm here.
Forcing? You don't want to come hang out with us?
Right.
I'm just joking. He's just telling me to join and see what's going on, so I'm here.
Oh my gosh, we have like the best special guest.
That's it, guys. We can end it here. We're good.
She made an appearance. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, I'm glad you came.
What we got going on today, guys?
What do we got going on? Are you talking to them or us?
We're doing a Q&A. So I guess, we got a couple people watching, but I think it'd be, let's start it off. Let's talk about us. Let's give a story. Let's kind of give some context.
Oh, yeah. Oh wait, we got to introduce ourselves. If it's our first time seeing us. I'm KJ. I'm the visionary. I call brokers. We do multifamily together. I guess that's a good intro.
Yeah, and I'm Myron. My other half, Carolyn, is helping our kids, but I'm an integrator. I do maybe deal structuring, a little bit of underwriting, checking off contracts, stuff like that. And Carolyn does more front of the house, broker calls, talking to sellers, and she's who you're gonna see. And I'm not so lurky, but I tend
to... That's funny.
Love it. And I'm Oscar.
And I'm Ione.
And both of us work with these guys, these lovely people you see on the screen. We're all a team. I'm the visionary of the couple here, and Ione is
the integrator.
And you do.
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll say it. I do the underwriting most of the time. And that's it.
Sure. She does a lot more behind the scenes stuff, guys.
Yeah, I'm not used to this.
She's not going to tell you, but she does a lot for the team. And for us, I'm the visionary. I'm more of what KJ mentioned earlier. I'm up front, so I'm talking to brokers, I'm talking to investors, I'm talking to other people, building relationships. Also kind of helping Myron out too when it comes to contracts and deal structure, and also helping KJ's husband, Joseph, on the lending side as well. So all of us focus specifically in multifamily. So all of us have a particular skill set that we all bring to the table. and we balance each other out because between all of us, there's 6 of us, and we're all couples, right? So there's 6 of us, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, and we have 3 visionaries in the team, and we have 3 integrators in the team. So whenever we have to talk about anything, we always have every single aspect or perspective and whatever it is that we're talking about. So then we're able to kind of just balance each other out. And I think that's what's key, because if it was all visionaries, could you guys imagine if we were all visionaries, how much work we would get done? Or imagine if we were all integrators, right? Like if we were all integrators, maybe we would get a lot of work done, but we probably wouldn't be in front of people as much as we would like to, right? So it's definitely a balance in what we do. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're all working this together versus doing it by ourselves. And that's the biggest thing is multifamily. I keep saying this every single time. It seems like I'm a broken record, KJ, but every single time we do a live, I keep saying this, multifamily is a team sport. And if you guys are trying to do it by yourselves, and you can, but why would you? It's just too hard. I would say surround yourself with people, and people who are like-minded and aligned with you, or be part of a team, or bring a deal to somebody and do it together, because it'll be a lot easier for you guys. But we're here to do a Q&A. So if you guys, while we're chatting away here, if you guys have any questions in the chat related to multifamily in general, we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can. And we also have all sorts of perspectives from integrators here and the visionaries. So we're actually evened out today, guys. Normally it's a bunch of visionaries and the integrators are hiding out.
Perfect.
Yeah. So what do we got, guys?
Let's see. I see Tyler. My multifamily people. I'll be submitting that as I'm watching y'all now. Awesome. Here's our first question. What led you guys away from single family towards multifamily? Who wants to go first?
Myron.
For me, I don't know. This is a story, I guess you could say, but like single family is like what you're supposed to do when you start, like, oh, that's what everybody's doing. That's what I should do. And multifamily doesn't have such a big, I think the audience is there, like people want to learn, but people aren't putting all that stuff out. Like Pace Morby's channel, it's not all about multifamily. So it's another level. But when I first started, I think I was like month 3 of trying to like figure out what the heck I'm doing. And I was mowing the lawn, and I just said to myself like this, God spoke to me and said, you're going to buy an A-class. I know exactly which one I'm going to buy because I used to live in it. An A-class apartment complex in downtown Dallas, that you're going to buy that. And it just kind of stayed there. I'll always remember exactly, like I was mowing right there. I can see it. Like I know exactly when it happened. And it stuck there, and I'm still kind of grinding away, and just started when we do it's really about math to me, is like how much sense it makes, right? Where single family is a little bit tougher for me to get, because there's some creativity, there's some guesswork on ARVs and how, you can get different square footage and do all the other stuff. And there's still creativity in multifamily. It's just kind of different. Multifamily seems a little bit easier for me at this point, at the part of like underwriting and deal structuring. Now, maybe next month, I might say something a little different once we get like into some solid roles and get deeper into it. But yeah, that's my story. That's what I think. I love it.
I love that, Myron. I definitely feel you on that. I would say Joseph and I kind of feel the same. I think it was when Keston had a Zoom that I had like an epiphany that I was like, I need to go bigger. Why am I thinking so small? Why am I doing something I don't enjoy? Like you saying like, oh, we need to be doing single family. I had that same mindset. I thought you had to do single family in order to get into multifamily. I thought I had to do all of this and be an accomplishment in the single family world before even thinking about being in multifamily. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I have so many buyers that come to me trying to sell their portfolio because they want to get into multifamily. And I'm like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person 10 years down the road. Now, just now getting my feet into multifamily after going through all of that. I think that was a huge eye opener for me since I do a lot of dispo. I was like, why are all these buyers wanting to leave single family and get into multifamily? And I was like, you know what? Like, why can't I just skip that? I was like, why do I have to put myself through that headache? Why do I have to do all of that? I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to own several properties everywhere. I don't want to have to manage each property on its own. I don't want to have to deal with if it's vacant, then you have no money coming in and having to deal with all of that. And then you can't scale it either. You can't make any more money out of it than you already are, like you could with multifamily. So when I had that mindset shift, I was like, why am I not believing in myself? Why am I not like pushing myself to go learn this stuff? Like that was a whole block in myself that like, why can't I go do this? Like you can do anything you set your mind to. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go figure it out. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but I was like, you know what? I know Oscar does multifamily. I hit up Oscar. I said, how can I get into multifamily? What are you doing? I was like, what can I do to be part of that? Because I need to learn. And then we hopped on a Zoom, we talked, and then this is kind of how this came to be. We all just kind of had the same goals in mind. We're like, okay, we don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to figure it out together. It's like, okay, what is everybody good at? Let's figure out what needs to get done. And it kind of just morphed into this amazing relationship that like I don't know what I would do without you guys. Y'all are like my best friends. I love y'all. But that's why multifamily versus single family for Joseph and I.
Okay. That's awesome, KJ, by the way. Good story. So what led us to single family towards multifamily? This is I think this is a common question. I think someone who's new would probably think the same way. Like the gateway to real estate is start off in single family, right? Start off in single family, build up as many as you can, and eventually get into multifamily. I think that's a common misconception, right? Like it's not it doesn't have to be that way. And I think once you figure that out, like things will start to click. Like you'll have those epiphanies, like the one that Myron had when he was mowing the lawn. He was like, "Man, multifamily, like why not?" Right? And the one that KJ was like, this just makes sense. Like, what are we doing wasting our time with single family, right? And it's the same thing with us. Like we knew going into, well, I would say Ione knew going into real estate that she wanted to do multifamily. And the way we thought we needed to get into it was we need to start doing single family first before we can get into the multifamily being with the big boys, right? That's what we thought. But doing it after a while, we were like, you know what? I don't think this is the right path. Like, I think we can just get into it and start doing it. And the way that for us, how it clicked was we went to one of those 10X events with Grant Cardone. And then when we went there, it was like our perspective changed. Like we were like, we know we just need to make the jump. Like after that event, we were like, let's get into it. Let's do it. But we had already thought about it before. It's just that we thought that like 10 years from now, we would just start getting into multifamily. But we actually just decided to jump in and we're like, you know what, let's just do it. So we committed and we were laser focused on what we needed to do. And we didn't let anything else stray us away because there's a lot of shiny object syndrome that can easily get you distracted. And we had to put on our blinders and just focus. We had to really, really focus. And then people started reaching out to us because they saw us that we were getting into multifamily. We met amazing people along the way. Myron, Carolyn, we did some business together on single family side, but we all were like, what are we doing messing around with single family? So we started doing multifamily. And then KJ and Joseph reached out to us, and then we were like, this is a great match. Why don't we all hop on a Zoom? And eventually it morphed into this big family that we have now, and we work together every day. And it's incredible for us to work every day because now we get to work with people that we want to work with. And like KJ said, we're like all best friends, so we don't know what we would do with each other. Everybody here has a role that they do. That's something that they bring to the table. Freaking amazing underwriters Myron, Ione, Joseph. Like Joseph ran an amazing underwriting session, 2 underwriting sessions, and almost by himself. And if you guys would have seen when he first started, it wasn't like that. He was asking me questions like, "What does a T12 even stand for?" Right? And he's over there like 20 plus people on a Zoom leading the class and teaching those people like he was once the new student before, and now he's a teacher. KJ, same thing. You know, she's morphed into this badass, like broker outreach department, broker outreach person. Like she's teaching people how to do it. When she came to the team first, she didn't know how to talk to brokers. And she took a whole day to listen to me how to do it before she felt comfortable to go make her first phone call. But after that, she is now dominating how to talk to brokers. Amazing. And Myron himself too is like, he came to us wanting to learn multifamily, and now he knows so much. Like it blows our mind how much growth everybody in the team, and Carolyn too, like everyone in the team has grown so much in just a couple of months, guys. It's only been like what, 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this together, and it feels yeah, it feels like we've been doing it for a year or more, right? Because we've learned so much, and we've accelerated and invested in ourselves so much too, that we actually have accelerated that learning curve because of the people that we are backed up by and the people that we can reach out to. So doing it as a team just accelerated everything. And now we have a great goal. I'm gonna let Joseph touch up on the goals here in a second, but our goal is freaking amazing, and we're not letting anything shy us away from it, or we're not letting anything scare us away from it. And we're focused. We're super focused. So yeah, that explains how we got started and from single family to multifamily. But I want Joseph to touch up on the goals, because he's been crushing it in multifamily lately. So I'm gonna let him take over that part.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that introduction, man. These guys have become my family. They have. They really have. And it's not what we were searching for in the moment, but it's what was brought to us, what happened. It just, like he said, it was a good mesh, and it just morphed into what it is now. And it's, I'm grateful, 100% grateful for it. But our goals, man, our goals. Well, I remember. I don't remember who told me this, but I remember hearing someone say it, or someone saying it to me or telling me. But if your goals are not big enough that it scares you and other people around you, then your goals aren't big enough. And our goals definitely, intimidate me a little bit, but I have no doubt that we're gonna make it happen. And our goals, we are going to get 1,000 units by next July. So just short of a year, we'll be having 1,000 units in multifamily, 1,000 multifamily units throughout the six of us, right, collectively. And that's our goal. We want to get 1,000 units, and I know that we will. We have great sponsorship. We have good leadership behind us. We have an amazing team, and we have the drive and the determination to make it happen. And I have no doubt that we will. That's just one goal, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I love that, because before that, Joseph, what was our goal before that? Did we even have a goal before that?
No, I think we just wanted to get our hands on a deal. I think that was the goal. Let's get a deal. Now we have so many deals that we're analyzing and looking at every single day that we're having to sift through it. And a lot of it is not so great. There is definitely some trash deals out there, but it's a lot of sifting, and eventually we're going to get the right one, man. And who knows? Maybe it's 1,000 unit building that's going to get us to our goal. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to touch up on this real quick, because there's a lot of people out there who are probably doing what we're doing right now, like starting off, trying to get their feet wet on multifamily. But we have a property under contract right now. It's 30 units, and I want Myron to touch up on this a little bit. Whenever that deal came to us, Myron, and we were trying to figure it out, give us a little bit of like, your thoughts of when we first got that deal. Someone brought this deal to us, by the way. What was it that we had to do in order for us to get this thing going and to get it under contract? Give us a step by step on that whole process and how we got it under contract.
Right. So it came to us from, we're all sub 2 students. I don't remember if we mentioned that, but we have been branding ourselves as multifamily, a multifamily group, a multifamily team. And we just started our Oscar's virtual office. It's everybody's, but it's his. But anyways, we just started that, and another student, Sandra, came in and said, "Hey y'all, we have this deal, Corpus Christi, which is pretty far south. What was it at? It was at 3 million. I think it was at, I don't remember, 2.6, 2.4. I don't remember what it was at. Cash. Guy wanted cash. And I'm like, well, it has to underwrite, and so we underwrote it, and shoot, I don't remember what we offered y'all. I don't remember.
2.6, Myron.
Well, it was 2.6.
2.6.
Okay, that was our offer, and we offered that because there was some good vacancies. There's a lot of capex that we need to bring to the table, a lot of unknowns, right? And so Carolyn and I drove from Dallas to Phoenix, and when we got there, I think it was the second day we were there, Oscar calls me and says, "Hey, we're about to get the seller on a Zoom. Let's jump on." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm standing outside the Airbnb. This is my part of the story, but the Airbnb we were trying to get into, the cleaners were still there. We were waiting for 45 minutes. It started raining, and my kid was asleep. So I couldn't do the Zoom in the truck. I had to go outside in the rain, but I'm like, whatever, I'm ready. And I'm so glad I did. Thank you, Oscar, for pulling me on that call. But
yeah. Let me pause real quick, Myron. So right before that phone call, right before you and I hopped on that call with that seller, I was on my way home driving, and I was like 5 minutes away from going home. But something, bro, I don't know what it was. Something just in my heart, in my gut, I don't know what it was. Something told me to get you on the phone that day with that call.
That's amazing.
Because I was going to do it with Sandra by myself and her and the seller, but something spoke to me, man. I couldn't explain it to you. It was like a feeling. And I was like, I need to get Myron on this call. And I'm so thankful I did, because you'll explain what happened, but I'm so thankful I gave you a call. Anyway, that's all I wanted to add. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, me too. So the seller gets on the call and he tells us his story. He doesn't need to sell this thing. He does not need money. He's saying, if you all make the price right, when you look at the numbers, they're not going to be right. I'm going to tell you right now, because I don't want anybody to get, I don't want the government to take one penny more than they're supposed to take. I fight, I go down to the county and I fight for my tax dollars. And he goes, I want to seller finance everything. And I was like, bing. I was like Jackson right there. He has this was my eye. This is what I was looking like. Bing. And so I was like, why don't you seller finance this to us? He's like, oh, okay. And he gave us a number. He said, I'll do it at, I don't remember what he said. I'm sorry, Oscar. I think he said like 8% interest.
It was 7.
7. Did he tell us the term? Did he say like 15 years or something like that?
No, he said 30 years, 7%, and 300,000 down.
Yeah. So he gave us terms, and I was like, we're closer to 3%. How can I get you down to 3%? We just closed one in San Marcos. That was a 50-year note, 3%. And I don't know why we couldn't do that. He's like, 7% is a good interest rate, because if you look at the rates, how they're going right now, you're going to be at 7%. So I might as well give you 7%. But somebody else said something, and then he goes, you know what? What's up, Joel? He goes, you know what? If you want 3%, this is how we can do it. And he structured the whole thing by himself. He closed himself after that. You know what? I'll do a 50-year note, 3%, but it'll be $3 million. If you can make that work, then we'll make that work. and I want $300,000 down. And I don't know, the energy like went real high on the phone call, on the Zoom. Like everybody was like, I was like, okay, if that underwrites, we'll do it, because it has to cash flow. I mean, that's the bottom line. If we could do that and it doesn't cash flow, you'd be back after us for foreclosure. So we don't want to do that. And so we hung up, and like, I think we were all on cloud, not 10, but 11, right? And what the heck? Oh my God, what the, like, y'all, I gotta get this in front of Pace. Like, I'm about to see him. Or was it that night? I think it was that night. I'm about to see him tonight, y'all. And so because we went to the mastermind, and it was at some little pub thing. And so he's standing there like signing a book or something. He's signing his signature on the bill. He was paying the bill. And I'm just like hovering, like he's right here. And I'm just like, hey, what's up? Like right behind him. Hey, Myron, what are you? I'm like, dude, you're going to be so proud of me. You're going to be so proud of me, man. Like, we just got a seller finance, and it's 50-year note, 3%. He's like, I'll buy it. I don't know if he let me finish the sentence, but
just like that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's the rest is history now. So, because the EMD is done, we're looking to close. It should be closing this month. We'll see how that goes, but that's where we're at so far.
But I
feel like I missed a few key points, but
well, no, let me just give a little bit of context, because someone heard about us being in multifamily, right? Someone was watching us saying, these guys are in multifamily. So then they brought us a deal for us because they didn't know where to start. And so because we're all a team here, we all broke it down for them, and we underwrote it that same day that they brought it, even though they were missing financials, because it wasn't managed very well. So they didn't have a management property. So they didn't have the financials they needed, but we were still able to help them underwrite where it made sense. And so Myron touched up on a lot of things. He's been a little bit modest, but really what he didn't touch on was that he closed that deal. And remember how I told you, Myron, like, something told me to give you a call. And because you were on that call and you told a third-party story on another deal that Pace had closed on, he was like, you know what? If you want 3%, 3 million, 300,000 down, or whatever it was, and then 3%, 50-year amortization. You forgot about the part, bro. You said it, but you kind of went over it. 50 years, guys. 50 years.
No balloon.
Yeah, no balloon. And so Myron was just able to ask, how can we do that? And by asking that simple question, he closed himself. Myron didn't have to say, well, you know, it has to make sense. He did it himself. And because Myron was on that call, I believe 100%, he closed them. Well, he closed himself, but Myron asked that question, and that's why he closed himself, because of Myron was there.
Yeah.
Need some fires in the chat. That was awesome.
Yeah, we need some fires in the chat, guys.
Amazing.
Today's the day.
Today is the day, for sure.
To me, has been a catalyst, right? Because how many seller finance deals are we working right now? Multifamily seller finance deals. Is it 5 yet? Huh?
Quite a few. I would say we're probably at 4 or 5 of them, like actively working on them right now. I would say 4 or 5.
Yeah. We have a lot of cash deals that we're working on. And what's up, Sean? But it's an amazing story. We went to Jabs here in DFW. Jabs, Zach Shelley, and Christopher Crump threw a meetup over here, and they had some bigger name guys there. Josh Duke was there. He presented. This big time buyer. He has like 100 units, I think. Yes, Oscar with his cut.
Looking fresh.
Appreciate that, bro.
But somebody in the middle of all that, like at the end, goes, I have a question for Myron. And I'm sitting down. I'm like a part of the audience. I have a question for Myron. How did you guys start in multifamily?
Aww.
Like, what? This is not my thing. I like look at Karen and I'm like, what are they doing? And so we kind of told our deal. And I'm like, you know, this is their thunder. I'm like, I don't want to steal thunder, right? Because those are great guys, right? So, but afterwards, like all the presenters came up to us and started asking us how they can get in on what we're doing. And I was like, y'all, these locks are becoming unlocked. Like ching, 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 all those, when you go in the matrix and like the back of the hallway with the keys and crap, like all those doors are getting unlocked, y'all. It's happening right now.
So exciting. That's so awesome.
Man. And you remember when you started, Myron?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely a transformation. And I'll touch up on that here in a little bit. But before we do that, I kind of want to get the story from Ione and Joseph on how they got started on underwriting, because both of them have worked very closely when it's come to underwriting, right? And when you guys first came to us, Joseph and KJ, you guys were looking at some examples that we gave you, like for T12s and rent rolls and what it looked like, right? So I kind of broke it down a little bit, but you guys were still new at that point, so you really didn't know what you were looking at other than financials, right? So Ione was the one who taught me too how to read those things, because I didn't know. And so she was going with me over some of these financials and telling me what it was and this and that, and a couple other Zooms that I was watching and other stuff. But I'm going to ask Ione real quick, you know, how did she get so good at underwriting, and what does it take for someone to continuously grow and do underwriting so that, you know, the numbers make sense and deep dive? Like, what are some of your thoughts for someone watching who wants to learn underwriting? What would you say to them?
Okay, I don't think I'm that good, by the way. He's just
being modest, y'all. She is a rock star. Don't let her tell you that. She's a rock star.
No, I don't think I'm that good. I think it's just more of a practice for me, because I really wanted, I guess in real estate, I like looking at the numbers and money on its own. So that's how I kind of like, okay, I want to see how the number works in multifamily, because I already know how the number works in single family, right? So I think for underwriting in multifamily, it kind of like, I don't know how to explain. It's like kind of like forced me to learn something that I've never learned before. So I'm like, okay, it's deeper than the napkin underwrite, right? So because napkin underwrite is just surface of it. So I'm so interested in knowing how you can actually multiply your money. Everybody's saying wealth is being built in multifamily. So I'm like, how does that work? So that's like my curiosity, right? Like, how does that work? That's when I finally like read into underwriting, and I actually forced myself to do as well the analyzer, the what do you call
Spreadsheet.
it? Yeah, the spreadsheet. That's what they call it. So for, I guess, for people to start underwriting, napkin underwriting is like the way to go, because it kind of like cut your time underwriting it deeper. Because now I'm underwriting a deal that we have that we're gonna walk tomorrow, the 89 units, and it's taking me, like, I've been sleeping like 6 a.m. just trying to underwrite that deal and see how does that work, right? The numbers work. So it's a lot, but you know, napkin underwriting is pretty like easy, I guess, when you try to learn it.
Yeah, 100%. And so to reiterate what she's trying to say, guys, is that she started off learning the basics.
Why you put me on the spot?
The people want to hear from the best underwriter out there, right? If someone wants to get good at underwriting, it starts off with the basics, right? And then once you start getting into the basics, you learn a little bit more gradually as you go. And then, if, you know, like Ione, she was curious. She wanted to see how the numbers work. Aside from the napkin underwrite, what happens if you manipulate some numbers around in a spreadsheet? What are the possibilities, right? And it's something as simple as going into the spreadsheet, into the analyzer. And if you add like $50 to other income, to see how those numbers just multiply in front of your face in a spreadsheet. That's what got her interest, because she's saying, if I can do a pet fee of $50 per unit, how much more money can I make?
Yeah.
And you see that.
Yeah. Before I'm just hearing it, but now that I'm looking at it and doing it myself, I'm like, okay, now we just need one property that really cash flow and we're good. That's what I'm like in my head right now. It's like, I'm like, okay, we just need that one property that will cash flow and will make us all, I guess set.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're right when they said you only need one property. Now I know, okay, because I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, okay, now we just need one property for real.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what she loves doing. She's
Yeah.
investigating and seeing where she can add more opportunities. Instead of seeing just obstacles in the way, why the deal doesn't work, she's looking at how can it work? What can I change? What opportunities can I put? What other streams of income can I add in order for this to work?
Yeah.
And that's why she's been spending so much time on that particular deal that we're walking tomorrow. By the way, 89 units. Myra and Carolyn are going with us. And she's been underwriting it because this one can be a potential deal for us. So she's making sure that we are covered in every aspect. But that's kind of more on the deep underwriting. I want Joseph to touch up on, okay, if I'm new, Joseph, what are the basics? What do I need to do in order for me to get started in underwriting so I can underwrite at a high level and not waste my time with other stuff?
For sure. So like they said, I first started and knew nothing, like zero. Yes, I underwrote deals in single family and I understood that. And I always liked the numbers and all that good stuff. But looking at those spreadsheets was a monster to me. Didn't make any sense. So I actually got started with Oscar and Ione. I just said, how do I read this? This doesn't make any sense to me. Where do I start? And so they kind of sat down with me and, you know, I, I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I picked it up very quickly, but they went down the Excel sheet and just told me like, okay, this is what we're looking for. This is this is what this means. I said, perfect, great. I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times, did it on my own a bunch of times, lots and lots of practice, and eventually I picked it up. And now I have like an underwriting Zoom that we do as a team, and I see someone's question right here. Boom! Look at that. You got fans, Ione. You got fans. So it sounds like you need to join me on these underwriting Zooms. Is what the crowd wants. That's what we're seeing. But
Well, all I can say, Joseph, is you're really, really good at it. And I'm like, I cannot believe, like, when I was watching the underwriting Zoom one, like, when was that?
Couple days ago, yeah.
Yeah. How far you've come
yeah,
than the
I
first
appreciate
like you're really good.
I appreciate that. I really do. And I wouldn't understand it anywhere as good as I do if I didn't have that good or as well as a foundation as I got. Right. That I got started off with like a head start. I got some cheat codes. So that's what I've been trying to get back as well with these underwriting Zooms, which we do on Friday at noon Central Standard. So go check those out. I won't go too deep into Oscar's questions. I will explain it. So what you need to understand as far as underwriting, right? So you need to get there's 2 napkin underwriting formulas, which if you go back and watch the first one, I get both of them actually. I give out the formulas in that, but you use those 2 formulas to really touch the surface, just to kind of figure out, okay, does this deal make sense? Looking further into it to do the deep underwriting that Ione is talking about. Is it worth looking at further, or am I going to be wasting my time? Are we so far off on price, or does that deal not even cash flow right now? Or is there going to be potential to make $1 million in upside, $1 million valuation, and just the rents? Because that's our primary thing, right? It's a multifamily building. That's the primary source of income is the rents. So if you're not even making good money on the rents, is it really worth looking deep into this stuff on adding the pet fees, adding, charging back for water, electricity, all these, so many different kinds of things, right, that you could charge for at running an apartment building. So if it doesn't make sense in the beginning, do I waste my time on it? Or do I look deeper into it? And that's what they're talking about, the napkin underwriting. It's a quick way to plug in a formula, use the numbers that they give you. If it spits out, a really good looking number, then perfect. Let's look at it further, right? So that's kind of what they're talking about, the napkin underwriting. And the things that you need in order to get started or do underwriting is, first off, the two most important is T12, which is the trailing 12 months. And all that is a fancy word for saying the income and expense statement, or the P&L, the profit and loss statement, for the last 12 months. That's all it is. And if you have a well-run operation or a good accountant, it looks really pretty. But if you don't, and it's like a mom and pop type deal, it's usually like on a piece of paper and a couple numbers. So you get all kinds in the spectrum, right? But that's what you need, bare minimum. That and the rent roll. The rent roll is pretty much just a current statement of who's in the building. And it usually will show, lease start, lease end dates, their name, their current rent. Sometimes it'll have market rent if it's a really good one, and that's really what you're looking for. And that you want to just kind of confirm vacancies, because a lot of times you'll get the brokers telling you, yeah, it's 100% occupied, but then you'll go and see that and there's maybe like 3 or 4 that are vacant. So you really just use that to kind of confirm. And I think Oscar touched on it, but we're basically detectives. That's what you're doing, is you're diving deep into these financials to figure out what's the story, what's going on. How can we increase the value of this property and make it better if we were to take it on, right? So those are the two most important. And then the third document that you should get when talking to a broker or talking to someone who has a deal like this is called the OM, which is the short for offering memorandum. And what that is essentially like a brochure about the property. It's telling you all the details, high level stuff, right? It's nothing too involved. It's stuff to kind of get you in the door to come look at it. And if it's an off market property, most likely it won't have an OM. But if it's an on market or it's prepared by a broker, then it usually does have an OM. So those are the 3 documents that you would need to get started in underwriting. Once you get some of those documents, or even before, pop into one of those Zooms or even go back and watch the 2 previous ones, and I guarantee you'll start learning a lot. And just repetition. That's what it is. And I'm sure Aoni can attest to that. But that's what it is. It's like going to the gym. You don't just walk into the gym, lift one weight, and now you're super swole. No, you constant every single day, going, getting stronger, getting better. That's all it is.
100%, bro. And then I kind of want to touch up on what you said, but I'm going to ask KJ this question because some people may not know how to get these documents, or if they are prepared by, say, someone like a broker, how does one even approach that situation? Like, KJ, can you explain what it's like to do broker calls and how important it is to establish a relationship with them? They know who you are and how to get those financials if you need to ask for them.
Yes. I think this is a good question. This is kind of what we went over today in our broker Zoom call, live, whatever you want to call it. You want to like what Oscar does. He's so good about this, is when we're having a conversation with a broker, he establishes everything up front. He doesn't give them time to ask questions about us. He answers those questions before they're even brought up. And so when you're able to come to the table like, this is who I am, this is what I need, this is what I have, this is what I bring to the table, how can you help me? How can we do business together? Comes off way different than like, hi, I'm looking for 40 units. And they're like, okay. And like, they're like, okay, well, how do I know that you can even do anything with these 40 units? How do I know that you're going to buy them? How do I know that you're credible and things like that? So I think that really comes off as confident and knowledgeable when you come in with like, look, I already know the questions you're going to ask because I'm used to being asked these questions. So I'm just going to tell you up front. That kind of shows that like you're seasoned and you know what the expectations are and things like that. And I think that sets the bar way higher, and it definitely brings that wall down with the broker a lot. So sometimes they don't ask for proof of funds, they don't make us sign anything, they just send us stuff. And that's the difference of setting that tone and that credibility up front with a broker on the phone. And it's all about, I mean, if you read the, babe, what is it called? The book you have? The Way of the Wolf. The Way of the Wolf really changed my mindset about talking to people, and how the first 4 seconds of talking to someone on the phone will either make or break you. So it's all about your tonality, your enthusiasm. If you have enthusiasm, and if you know what you're talking about, if you sound confident. So you need to be confident in what you're doing. You need to sound enthusiastic. And I totally went blank on what it was, and I just said it. What was it?
It's enthusiastic as hell, sharp as a tack. Damn, I forgot the first one. I'm
My
about to go get it.
brain,
Hold up.
my brain today. Oh my God, it's gonna drive me insane. This is like the second time my brain went like whack. Anyways, you just want to come in knowing what you're doing, and it makes a huge difference. Oh, it was tonality. Tonality plays a huge role in that. So, if you can master those things, you can talk to anybody and get your way with anything almost. Not everything, but like it makes a huge difference when talking to brokers and getting that information.
Right. So then KJ, just like she said, she would set up the expectation up front, the tonality, the credibility, and then she gets the info after the conversation. It gets sent to her, and those are the items that Joseph is showing. And then once those documents come in, then we take a quick high level napkin underwrite that Joseph or Myron will typically do in order for us to determine if it's even a deal for us to take a look at. If it is, then Ione will then take a closer look at it and dive deeper into the numbers. If it makes sense, Ione will typically come up with I guess you can call it a entry purchase price that we need to be at, maybe like a maximum allowable offer if you're in real estate doing wholesale. But then once that comes in, we get ready to send off what's called a letter of intent, the LOI. And I want Myron to touch up on this because Myron writes them off very often in our team. And I don't know if you remember, Myron, but when we first sent our LOI and we didn't really know what we were doing, how scary it was to send an LOI to begin with.
Yeah.
Can you touch up on a little bit on how that process looks like and what an LOI does and what happens if it gets accepted?
When we sent our first LOI, I was like, Oscar, what is going to happen? Are they going to are we going to have to buy this thing? Because I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So, dude, I wish I could frame that thing. I don't remember what it was. And now we're sending multiple a week. I mean, there's a time where we're sending like freaking 20 a week, right? So, an LOI is just it's a letter of intent. It's not just, it's a letter of intent. You do the underwriting and you get to a number, and basically it's a presentation. And you say, this is what I'm willing to offer. And it can be cash, it can be creative. And you put the terms. This is basically like, I want to start here. And what I've learned from Oscar and Joseph and KJ and Ione is make an offer that you're embarrassed to make. And so we make an offer that's pretty low. And we've actually been laughed at. And it's good. It's actually good. It's because you're not leaving one penny on the table. Yes. So you're not leaving anything on the table. They're going to work their way up to their bottom line, to their bottom number. That's the process. And some of them want proof of funds, but actually I haven't been sending proof of funds like I used to. Which is great because our name is getting out there. Just exactly what KJ said. The people that we're talking to, we're getting in front of like legitimate people who trust us. And Yes. Joel said go for the no. Yep. Same as in single family, right? But the other side of it is, y'all, it's just a piece of paper. You want to send something that's non-binding so you're not stuck. And there will be people that if you send in something, they're going to start, twisting your arm and saying, "Hey, let's get the PSA signed, or the purchasing. Let's get something for real signed, and then we'll move forward on these other things." So just be careful with what you sign. I would say if you have somebody's putting a piece of paper in front of you and you're to sign it, and you're wondering whether you should or not, talk to any of us. We will help you. There are some, we sign a couple NDAs, and we challenge them. I think we challenge every single one of them one way or another. KJ's nodding her head because she's typically doing that.
Yeah, actually, KJ, why don't you touch up on this question, because you had a conversation today that you asked a freaking amazing question. Is one of the NDAs that you had, or I think it was a broker or buyer representation, they had something in there that you were like, "What's this about?" And you weren't scared to ask, and you were upfront. Can you touch on Joelle's question and just kind of let us know how you go and do that process?
Yeah, so I had someone today. Actually, I talked about it earlier on the Zoom. Someone called me this morning. I didn't remember who it was, but they remembered who I was and said, "Hey, I have 204 units in San Antonio." And I was like, "Okay, great." So he sends me an email saying, "I need all your information for a representation agreement." So before even sending him my info and letting him fill it out for him to tell me, "You need to pay 3% and it's a binding agreement," I said, "I already know what's going to come." So I called him up and I said, "Hey, what is your expectations? What is this agreement going to look like?" And he said, "Well, the seller is not paying anything." I said, "So you're expecting me to pay?" And he said, "Yes." I'm like, "So what percentage are you wanting to be at?" And that's what I asked him. He said 2%. And I said, "I need to be at 1%. And he said, "Okay, let me go talk to my broker." Comes back 1.5%. I said, "No, we're not doing the deal unless it's 1%." And then 10 minutes later, he called me. He's like, "Okay, we can do 1%. So now he'll send me the details and everything. But I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm sure somebody else could send me the same exact deal. So let's go. But with the NDA and binding agreements, they're just like any other contract or piece of paper. It's like a deal you can negotiate. So they send it to you doesn't mean you have to sign on the dotted line and that's it. Like you tell them, "No, I don't want this." Like another lady had sent me something and I said, "I want this paragraph taken out. I'm not signing that." So just be careful with what you sign and read it beforehand. And if you don't understand it, ask them or ask one of us. I mean, there was a time where I talked to this guy for like 15 minutes and I did not understand a single word he said. Like he was dropping all kinds of big words and things that I've never heard of about financing, and I was intimidated to ask anything, but my mentor actually told me that if there's something you don't understand, ask, because a lot of times, like even though we're in this realm, however you say it, like we are not financing pros. We don't understand that lingo. So for them to talk to us in that way, it's okay for us to ask questions and be like, hold on, bring it down just a little, explain what you're talking about. So I think same would go the same with um, NDAs and binding agreements. So a lot of times if a person says, I want to represent you, and they want it to be a binding agreement, say, "I will only agree if it's non-binding because I have other people bringing me deals. And, I haven't worked with you before. I don't know how you perform and I don't feel comfortable doing a binding agreement, because what if you don't perform? And then I have to get deals from other people and now you're getting paid because I signed on the dotted line." So,
Yeah, and just to put this out there as a disclaimer, we are not attorneys and we're not financial advisors. So if you have anything that you feel you should run by anyone, run it through someone who's professional, an attorney, and double check to make sure that you are fine. Okay, so just putting it out there. But yeah, what KJ said, always ask questions too. Definitely helps. Darren says, what would you have done when buyers ask for proof of funds and you don't have the funds? Who wants to answer that? Do you want to answer that, Joseph or Myron?
I think this is more of a Myron question, but let me answer it this way, right? We've thrown this out there that if the deal is brought to us and you're willing to work the deal with us, then we would use our stuff in order to get the information. But we would be the ones sending it. We can't just give that out because it has our info on it and we don't want that circulating. So that is a standing offer that if you wanted to bring something to the table and bring it into one of our office hours, we'd love to talk more about it then. But there are other ways that you can get proof of funds, such as partnering up with someone that does have those funds or someone that is in this space and they're willing to sponsor you. There's multiple ways out there. In the beginning, we had our own, and it just was not. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. So I'm just gonna stop at that. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Myron.
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, because these people want proof of funds at $10 million. I don't know. We know a few people who have $10 million, but I mean, how many people have like liquid 10 million? It's not too smart to have liquid 10 million in your pocket. Like put that money to work. So yeah, Darren, like somebody's asking you for proof of funds. I would kind of start with that person. Just make sure you're dealing with the right person. And if you need help, feel free to reach out. What's up, Maj? Maj says, hey. Oh,
I think we lost Oscar.
what's up, Maj? But
oh, he's back.
I didn't mark where I was positioned, so I wanted to get the other spot.
That's hilarious.
I accidentally clicked on the wrong button. Hey, what's up, YouTube? We're back. We're live.
That's funny. Y'all always crack me up.
No, y'all crack me up. That's why I'm here every day. That's good. That's good. So we have all sorts of different perspectives and different ways that we can help each other out. So that's the good thing about having a team, right? If one of us gets stuck into something particular, then we can reach out to any of us here. And normally we're always on the same Zoom. So we just can ask a question immediately, right? And if we need help, someone can stop and do, help out that other person. So we're never stuck per se, but we're always here to help each other out. Now, if we have something under contract, and I'm gonna go to Myron real quick. Myron, if we have an accepted letter of intent, and now it's time for us to submit a contract, what's the typical terms when it comes to, say, like an inspection or due diligence, and then the closing? What is typical on a contract like that?
We typically want 45 days for inspection. And then after that, after our due diligence, we want another 45 days to close. And I think that's typical. We've been asked for it to go shorter, obviously. But if you're going to submit an LOI, that's what I would just stamp on there as your template, is 45 days to do your due diligence and 45 days to do your closing. Because if you think about that, your due diligence is to go in there and you want to tour the property. You absolutely want to tour the property. You're going to spend millions of dollars on a piece of property and never see it. I mean, there are people who do that, but like, that's not us. So we're going to go look at that piece of property. We're going to look at the books. There's going to be things that are going to be a little bit different or a little bit fudged, right? And so we want to figure that out, do our due diligence that we're comfortable to close. And then at closing, you want another 45 days. That's because you want to get your funding. So you want another 45 days to get your money together, I mean, you want to have a good idea already, but like once the deal gets to this point, you got to figure out how you're going to get this closed. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. You want as much time as you can have, but 45 is our rule of thumb, I guess you could call it.
Love it. So 45-day due diligence and 45-day closing. Okay, got it. So how important, I'm going to ask Ione this one. Ione, how important is it to know the underwriting, the numbers, so that whenever you're getting ready to get the funding in line, you are prepared? Like, can you touch up on what exactly it is that you are looking at whenever it comes to here's how much money we need, here's how much money we need for reserves, and here's how much money we need for closing costs? Can you touch up on that?
Yeah. So I guess for me, doing the underwriting, I think the most important thing is the cash flow. So for us, it has to cash flow day one. And usually with the closing costs that he's talking about, rule of thumb is 3% of the purchase price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2%,
Okay.
2%, yeah.
2 to 3%.
Yeah.
And then also important thing about underwriting it is you have to actually think about the renovation cost, what it costs to make it market ready, like to charge more rents, right? So they say it as like a capex, capital expenditures. And also one of the things as well, like Joseph touched on it a while back, about rent increase. So it has to be $1 million upside for us, right? That's our preference. So rents should be at least $100 per door,
Minimum.
minimum $100 per door.
Yeah.
And what else did I miss?
And the lending.
Oh yeah. So this is actually Joseph's side, the lending side as well.
Yeah. So, Joseph, can you touch upon how lending is typically structured in a traditional multifamily, I guess you can say, transaction, what that looks like with a lender?
For sure. So the lenders, they do their own underwriting as well, right? And it's different from single family in the way that they look at the deals. They're not looking at it based on credit or personal credit or anything like that. It's 100% asset based. So what they look at is how well the property is doing. And in addition to that, they also look at your business plan to increase the value or maintain, stabilize the property, right? So generally what they'll do is they'll usually cover about 60 to 75% loan to value. So whatever they value the property at, they'll usually give you up to about 60 to 75% of that. So let's say the property is $1 million, right? And they're going to give you 70% loan to value. So that means you still have to come up with the other 30%, right? And that's including if there's a like if you're doing a seller finance, you have to come up with that down payment, all that good stuff. So strictly just talking about loans, lending. That other 30% that you have to come up with, how do you raise that? How do you get that? Either you have that because you're a big baller, or you have to go and raise those funds. And raising the funds is something that we're getting into. We're learning more about it and how to truly syndicate a deal. That's something we haven't gotten to, but it is something in our near future of what we're going to be doing. But that's kind of how they structure it, broad view, right? Then it gets into it. I like this. I'm going to touch on it just so you can see it. Maj's question, DSCR. So we'll come back to that question. But what DSCR is? Debt service coverage ratio. So what that means is they generally want to see a DSCR of at least 120 or higher, and that's 1.20, like not 120. And what that means is whatever your income, your NOI, your monthly NOI, which is your net operating income, after all the expenses are paid, they want to see your income, that property, covering at least the mortgage and an additional 20% of that mortgage. So it's 120, right? One full amount and then an additional 0.2, right? So if let's say they needed a 120, and for easy numbers, your mortgage is 20,000, right? So they need to make sure that you're at least coming in at 24,000, making at least 24,000. So that would be cash flowing $4,000. And remember, all of your expenses are already taken out. The only thing that hasn't been taken out is you paying off the mortgage, paying off your additional investors, and then paying yourself as the GP. So that's the order of how they get paid too. Mortgage first, then your investors, and then you get whatever's left. Sometimes there's not that much left, right? So that's what underwriting is so important, because you have to look at all aspects of the deal, not just up front, does the numbers make sense? But no, you have to look at it during, how are we going to make the best use of this property? And then on the back end, how are we going to exit the deal? If we're going to exit the deal, are we going to, is our exit strategy to buy and hold and just keep banking on this $1 million deal? Or is it to fix it up real nice, get it stabilized, and then sell it for way more? Right? That's all underwriting. Underwriting is much more than just figuring out if, hey, do these numbers look good? There's a lot more involved.
For sure. And we'll answer some questions here in 1 second. But I think, Ione, like, you agree with me that it's so important to know all those numbers whenever you're underwriting, right? Because it'll determine so many things if this is even a deal or not, right?
Yes.
So like last night, she was underwriting a deal and she was manipulating numbers around to see what we can do in order for this deal to make sense. But not only that, but she was running other scenarios in this deal. So Joseph, you touched up on it a little bit. It's a little bit more advanced, but what's your exit for this particular property, right? For this particular deal. And if you don't know that up front, then it can definitely make it harder for you to know what you want to do with this deal, or if it even makes sense, right? So Ione, like, I know you touched up on the deal last night, but like, just give us a little insight of how many, what does it take? How many hours have you put into it to make it look like, this might be a deal?
Yeah, so I'm actually not done yet, but I started about Friday, 12 a.m. Friday. I work until, that's the first time I saw that deal, like underwrote the deal in the analyzer. And then it took me until 6 a.m. Is it Friday?
Yeah.
Or Saturday, I think. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But yeah, and then yesterday again. I did it again yesterday. So it's kind of like really, maybe because it's my first time to really deep underwrite something. Well, it's not my first time, but it's like, this is for real. This is our deal.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now I can feel the responsibility of like, this has to work. Like how can we make it work, or why is it not working?
Foolproof.
Yeah, I'm like, I have to make sure that our, like Joseph said, our exit is like solid, and we're paying our investors right. So changing like the numbers on the analyzer can actually change everything, just one number. So I'm using our analyzer that we
the one that we use.
Yeah, we used.
Yeah.
So it's like just one number changes everything. So I have to be careful on what I put and what I'm missing.
Right.
So I was showing it to him, and it's amazing how one number can actually change everything. Like, change your cap rate, it will change your cash flow. Change your carrying cost, it will change your cash flow. So everything changes. Just one number, even just 0.5.
Should we give an example of that?
What is
Maybe in an underwriting Zoom, Joseph. We can definitely.
No, I would actually, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll probably deep dive in an underwriting Zoom, so everybody can see the
Come back
example.
Friday.
Yeah, and she's right. Like, she was geeking out because she was showing me how it would work if we just change a few things, and it was so important to know all that, because now it tells us what exactly it is that we need to do in order for us to make this deal make sense. And she had like 2 or 3 different scenarios, so that's even better. We had like a conservative model, we had a actual, and we had an aggressive, and that's something we learned from our mentor, right?
Yeah.
It's things that we can do, but it has to make sense still, because we are new, right? So we don't want to go in an aggressive if we don't have to, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I just wanted you guys to know what it takes to really underwrite and deep dive underwrite in a deal, because it took her hours, and she just said she didn't even remember what time she was up till, because that's how much
Yeah,
she's
because
been
I'm
working on
like,
it.
I think it kind of like makes you feel like, okay, like it's for real. So now I have to present it to the group as well.
Yeah.
So I have to present it to the group, and we have to present it to our investors in the future. So how are we going to present it? Like the numbers has to make sense for everybody, right? So it's kind of like tricky and challenging at the same time. I'm really challenged to make it work. So I'm like spending so much time. So if another deal comes, I know like what to do in the future.
Right. You can use a case study,
Yeah.
a reference, right?
I would like to touch on something you said, right? So another thing that makes underwriting so important is what Aoni just said, is you're going to have to pitch this deal later on to investors. You're going to have to get people to come make up that, like in our example, that additional 30% that you got to raise the money for. So if it's $1 million deal, that's 300,000. That's a small deal in multifamily, right? It gets much bigger than that. So you still have to go and know your numbers good enough to raise that money, to be confident in what you're telling them and understand it. So I just wanted to add that to what you said.
For sure. You know, we've been kind of on a tangent here, but I think it's time to answer some questions. Myron, did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, Aoni, when you're spending hours and hours and hours, what is like? I know there's a few things at play, but my question is for everybody here, right? Like, is there like a top thing? What is the number one thing that you have to make sure is solid or there?
That's kind of like a hard question. So, because when I underwrite, I actually look at a lot of things. So, like, just for example, so when I underwrite something, right? So I have to touch on the first thing is location, because they always say location, 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 right? So I always go on location. I also look at different kind of things like median income, household income, right? And how the area is. And then before I actually go to the numbers itself. So I think for underwriting, the most important part I will always look at will be the cash flow. That's the number one thing I always look at. Once it's negative, it kind of like makes me like it put a bad taste in my mouth. Like I don't like it.
But at the same time,
yeah,
it
but
challenges
yeah,
her.
but at the same time, I was like, why is it negative? Like you have to figure it out. Like why is it negative? So I have to look at the numbers. So it's more of like work, I guess, when it's negative. And I don't think personally, as a beginner, I guess, like a new person in multifamily, those negative cash flow are good. That's just me personally, right? Because it's gonna take us a lot of work to make it cash flowing. So I think that's the most important for me, cash flow, and also one more thing that I just learned right now that I'm underwriting it. Your mindset has to change, I guess. It's like to you have to make your investors happy, and that's how I'm underwriting right now. It's like I have to make them happy so people will invest in us, right? So people will put money on our deal. So I have to make it work that we have to put them first. Like this has to make work for them and for us. So there's like two,
Win-win.
like yeah, win-win situation.
For sure. And to touch up on that, it's like, yeah, she might get frustrated that it's not cash flowing day one, but she doesn't stop there, right? Instead of saying like the mindset shift, right? Instead of saying, okay, this isn't a deal, let's pass, she is looking for opportunities to make it work. Something that maybe an investor before did not see, right? There's an opportunity here. Where can I find it? So then when she's underwriting, she's looking for that. Maybe they didn't increase rents for whatever. Let me confirm that their pro forma is actually what's out there. Because you can trust, but you verify, right? Let me make sure that whatever they're adding up as other income, maybe there's something else I can do there, right? So instead of seeing the negative in all this whole thing, is maybe there's some opportunity, right? So that's what she's talking about. Like last night, she was figuring out different scenarios, and that's exactly what she spent time, and that's what we should be doing, is figuring out how can we make this work. So
Yeah, it's
to
just
add that.
it I don't think it's supposed to be that long, but I just want to make it work, I guess. Like I just want to see how, not make it work, but
Find
I
the
just want to
opportunity.
see like the opportunity here, right? Like how can we make it work, or why does it not work? I guess there's like two questions in there. Why does it work and why it doesn't work?
Love it.
Ione is a assassin. She is amazing with the underwriting. I don't know what we would do without her. She definitely underestimates herself for sure. She is amazing.
For sure.
Thank you.
Let's go to the questions, guys. I think we've had some few, and we haven't gotten to them.
Here, I got one for you. This is Maj's question from before that we kind of passed over. So on this question, are you talking about the lending company to take second position, or are you talking about them, the lending company being first and then having an additional private money on there? You want to just answer in the chat real quick.
Okay. Let's go to the next one while he verifies.
Okay. Here's the next one. Also his. And your question is: underwriting a 40+ unit the same way as underwriting a duplex? Is the step-by-step process the same? It is not the same. It is very similar, but it's not the same. So 2 to 4, right, is duplex, triplex, quadplex. Those are different from 5+. 5+ is all basically underwritten the same. When it's 2 to 4 units, though, you're underwriting it very similar to single family, where you're comparing it against other properties that are similar in the market. Whereas when you're underwriting 5+, which is considered commercial multifamily, anything 5+, that you're running it based on what that property is producing, the income. That you're, instead of underwriting it as a property, you're underwriting it as a business. I think that's a good visual way to say that. But it's not exactly the same. It's similar, but not exactly the same. What's the next one? Yeah, I see this one. I don't know what you're talking about. If you could elaborate on that.
They were talking about, when you were talking about the DSCR loans, about I don't remember exactly, but when you were talking
1.20, the 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the bottom number that I've heard. The average is like 125, but 120 is the bottom that I've heard. And every lender's different. Every lender's different. So even going back to Masha's question, one lender could allow it and one could not. It's just something you want to ask them, and something that we've been doing, or I've been reaching out to lenders to. Same reason we're calling brokers, to better our relationships with them and to get potential deals sent our way. Yeah, that's not my ideal goal, is to get deals sent our way, but if it happens, that'd be great. But I'm trying to broker these relationships. I'm trying to build better relationships with different lenders. The other day, we had a lender come in and just educate us on different things that we didn't really know. We just had him pop into a conference call with us, and he educated us. And he said, you just go make friends with them, man. They're people. He said that if we had a deal, we needed help underwriting, wanted to see if the numbers make sense, bring it to them. They'll do their own underwriting, and then you can ask them for their underwriting. Hey, what did you see when you underwrote the deal? Can I see what you guys saw? Will you walk me through it? It's like, go make friends with these people, man. That it's definitely can't hurt you. It can only help you. Okay. So this one, I'd love to see an underwriting Zoom. Check us out on Friday. Do you have the? Let me see. I'll go pull it up here. I know you guys posted it. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go. Go check out that Facebook group. All of our links and updates and everything we'll post in this Facebook group.
Yeah, the Zoom is an event I already created in the Facebook group, and it has the link to the Zoom in there as well for Friday. Already ready to go.
All right.
There we go. Who wants to touch on this one?
Let's get Myron to touch up on this one.
Tyler says, what exactly is a buyer's fee as specified by your Podio? So our Podio is where you can submit some deals to us for us to look at. Thank you, Tyler. But he's seeing a buyer's fee. Like, what is there a buyer's fee on this? And what that is, from my understanding, is it's kind of what KJ said earlier, is they're making the buyer pay the fee. And I'm guessing that can come from a broker, but we're typically seeing it come from wholesalers. So somebody has a deal, they're going to mark it up. I feel like they mark it up on just the base price, and then they add another 3% on top of that. And that 3% goes to that wholesaler. So Tyler, to answer your question, that buyer's fee is actually a filtering mechanism for us. So we're going to see if there's is there a buyer's fee on this deal? Well, I'll look at it. Don't get me wrong, Tyler. It's not all of it is trash, but like that's typically a filtering thing for us. And I'll look at it. I'll make sure that I haven't seen this before, and we'll put it in our Podio. Am I solid answer on that one?
Yeah, solid, 100%. This one's going to be for you, Joseph. Stephen Crawford says, do you reach out to lenders before you have a deal?
Definitely. Yeah, because it's like you're someone having a party, right? You want to make sure you get invited to that party. So you want to be friends with them before the day of the party. You absolutely want to make that connection.
Bro, have you been like crashing parties or what, bro? Like,
yeah, man. You didn't know before Joseph.
That's his plan. That's his strategy.
No, man, I just like analogies. I feel like that's the best way to explain something is when you can relate it back to something that makes sense or you already understand, it makes it easier to understand that. And that's just my preference. I like to learn that way. It makes a lot of sense for me.
Guys, get to know Joseph now before the party starts. I'm telling you.
You don't even know, guys. You don't even know. Once we get this $1 million deal, we're all celebrating.
Oh my gosh.
This is it. As soon as we get that deal closed, that $1 million deal, this live is about to be live.
It's gonna be lit.
But yes, to answer your question, Steven, absolutely, man. We didn't have a deal when I talked to this guy. I was just letting him know, hey, my name is Joseph. I mean, we had already talked to him before, but when I do call these lenders, I'm just letting them know, hey, my name's Joseph. My team and I, we're looking to acquire 40 plus apartment buildings. Very similar to a broker call, very similar. And I'm just letting them know, hey, what kind of products do you guys offer for buildings like this? I want to start a relationship with you so we can do business together in the future. And they're going to be like, hell yeah, dude, I'll tell you whatever you want to know, because they want people in the door. They want more people bringing them opportunities because they get paid every time they lend you money. So they're going to want to make some way to work it out. And if educating you and making you understand it or helping you understand it is going to bring them more money, I guarantee they'll do it. I mean, that's why this guy did it for us, is because I told him, I said, hey, man, we're newer to the game. We don't fully understand it. And I just want to understand lending. I know that we're going to get a deal here. I know for a fact we're getting deals soon. So I want to be able to understand it before the deal's here. I don't want to be playing catch up. I'm going to try and get ahead of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And there's your follow-up to the last question from Maj, if you want to highlight that and answer it real quick.
Okay, there we go. I'm asking to have the DSCR lender in first position and a gap lender being in second. So my answer, I would say it is possible, but you got to find the right lender. I'm going to say most lenders, and from the couple that I've talked to, I haven't dove deep into this yet, but the couple that I have talked to, most of them would like to be the only lender on the property. but there are others that don't necessarily care. Every lender's different, man. You just got to talk to them and figure out what they like and don't like. You just want to figure out their requirements. Hey, what do I need to bring to the table? What do I have prepared in order to get this loan? And then what are you going to expect from me after we've got the loan? So you want to know both of those: before, during the process, after. So 3 of those.
100%. Cool. I don't see any questions anymore, but you guys have any other questions, just let us know in the chat. Yeah, I mean, out of all this, let me go to KJ real quick. KJ, what's been the best part so far about this journey in multifamily that you've had to this day?
Honestly, I think it's you guys. Like 100% being for real. I don't think I would be where I am right now, and I don't think that I would be excited to get up to work. And I wouldn't work as long as I do. I really appreciate you guys, and it's nice to have you guys to lean on, as well as like I feel like we really push each other. It's like I see one person doing something, it's like, man, I need to be doing that too, or like vice versa. And it's like, how can we better ourselves? How can we get to the next level? And I really think having friends or people to do this with like is a game changer. I don't know if I could be doing this and be where I am right now without you guys. Like if I was doing it with just Joseph and I, or even by myself, I don't think I would have the confidence, the knowledge. I don't know. I would probably be stuck and frustrated and be on the verge of like, am I even actually able to do this? So I think you guys definitely made the journey for a while, for sure. And on the actual multifamily side of it, I enjoy talking to brokers way more than talking to sellers. You're not having to deal with all these emotional problems. I get to be like I am with Dispo. Like I'm like, here's what I need, take it or leave it kind of person. Like I don't want to have to sit here and like kiss butt. Like I don't like doing that. I'm very straightforward. So like the fact that I get to be straightforward with brokers is nice. It's like, let's talk business. I don't want to sit here and be like, you tell me, well, Zillow said this. So I don't have to deal with that, which is amazing. And it's like, if I'm going to do the work, I want to make 10 times more than I would make doing one deal, like if I'm going to do a deal, I want to make a lot more money. And I think that's what's exciting too. It's like, I know the work and effort we're putting into this is going to like set us financially free, not being on the hamster wheel. And that's what motivates me to get up in the morning, is like, I actually have a goal and somewhere end in sight, not like, okay, how many single family do I have to buy, and like, am I still going to be working in my business? Like, am I still going to, just thinking about, I think that's why I couldn't make it. I was like dreading it. I was like, this does not sound good. Like, how can I be financially free? And like multifamily gives me that sense of peace and hope and excitement. And you guys too.
Oh, thank you, KJ. Always with the kind words, right?
That was amazing.
Words of affirmation, man. Let me
For
tell
real.
you.
But it's good. It's good that you get to see like KJ's perspective on how she gets up to go to work every day, right? She gets up excited, like motivated, and also has the goals that she can see, and also has a purpose. Versus before, like when we didn't have a goal, we were just kind of shooting everywhere, right? And so now she's like, she gets to go to work every day with the people that she wants to work with, right? Her family, her best friends, and we're all best friends here now. Like we're stuck with each other, whether we like it or not, but but we love it, right? And we love coming to work, like she says, and it's a game changer. So she knows her people, her tribe, everything like that. She's in the right place at the right time in the right room. So I'm gonna go to Myron, because Myron, we thought he was an integrator, but low key, he's a closer. This guy has transformed into a closer. Because of him, we have 30 units under contract.
Fires in the chat, make it rain.
Yeah, guys, he is a closer. He just doesn't know it, or he does now. But Myron, this whole journey with you, Carolyn, and even your daughters, right, being involved in real estate. What's like the most, like the number one takeaway, or maybe even two, that you guys have experienced doing this multifamily and your journey?
The number one takeaway is, I've been saying this for a while, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but like the biggest thing has been, don't try to do this alone. And if you are, freaking stop it. Like,
Myron will Myron you.
yeah. I mean, like, what this has done is, man, it's helped me with confidence. It's helped me with, I feel like there's actually traction, right? Like we are putting one step in front of the other to build wealth. And that is what we want to do, and we are doing it. And single family, we could probably get there, but like Oscar said at the beginning, was like, maybe 10 years down the line. And think about fast forwarding your life 10 years. How does that sound? I think that sounds good. So the number one takeaway is work with the people that you want to work with. And if you're not, stop, put in your notice and go work with people that you want to work with. I'm not saying quit your job. Holy shit, don't do that. What I'm trying to say,
bro, I was about to say, man.
We'll talk about that another time, but
watch out. Every single person on here is about to go put in their 2 weeks notice.
They're texting their boss right now. But no, keep your W-2 and start working with people in real estate that you want to work with, that push you, that make you want to be better, that you want to see succeed. That's one of the biggest things too, is like working with people that you want to see them do well. A lot of people get FOMO, and they get what is that other thing? They're jealous of other people's success. And switch your brain to saying, how can I help that person succeed? And if you're helping other people succeed, they're gonna take your hand. They're gonna say, let's go, come on. And so we were I'm talking about my girls for 1 second. Charlie's like, are those townhomes? Whoa, she knows townhomes. Okay. I like townhomes because they're, in town. She doesn't really know what it means. But she saw some. They were actually townhomes. So teaching her the things to say, what things are, I'm like thinking about her life. I'll do a lot of that, is like thinking about her future. What is the next 20 years? She'll be 7 in 3 days. And what is she going to be when she's 27? Bro, she's going to kill it. I'm going to make damn sure she kills it. You know what I mean? And so
Multifamily mogul. She's going to be a multifamily mogul, man.
Yeah. She's going to know. Here's the other thing is like, Dad, I don't want to do that. I want to, be a painter. Okay. But here's how you fund your painting, right? And do what you want to do. And here's your income so you can do what you want to do, right? So it will be that. That is our why. That's where we want to get. We want to make sure that they work for what they have. They put in the effort. They know, not terrible struggle, but they know how to get work done. And I don't want them to be super stressed out, but I want them to know what stress is, because that stress, like, you're not going to work as hard as you can unless that stress has you up against the wall. You know what I'm saying? That's when you turn on. I want them to know how their engine works. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but that has been the biggest driver for us. Moving over to multifamily you're working with people that you love, that you'll do anything for. And man, it's like all the things KJ said, like it's just been amazing.
Yeah. And you guys get to see, like Myron was saying, he was rattling off, but really what it was, it's all the passion that he has, right? It's like you can tell that it's close and near and dear to him, like his daughters, his wife, they've thought about it a lot, right? They know their why. And so that's why they're doing this. And just looking at I'm sure, I'm not a parent, we're not parents ourselves, but I'm sure if Carolyn were here, she would agree that you guys look at your daughters and you're like, man, I've got to make it happen. Like, I can't stop. I got to make it happen. Right.
Yeah.
Your whys, they're there. And that's not to mention what Myron has talked to us about offline, where he had to make that switch, where he became Myron 3.0. And he was like, I'm cutting out everything that I shouldn't be doing. Like, no one's going to stop me anymore. And it took him a little bit to figure it out, because he's really nice. He's very nice. Like, if someone asked him for help, he wouldn't say no. But he knows now where he's going. So now he's like focused. And he's like, look, if it doesn't serve me, then, maybe it's not for me. But he knows what, and it took a lot for him to learn, but he's there. Right. So it's just another thing that, throughout the journey, we've had the pleasure to see everyone grow in this group. So it's been amazing.
Yeah. So like people in your life that are, negativity basically is what it is. Negativity in your life, I've been making the path for myself and for my family, right? So like, if you're talking down to me or talking to me in a certain way that you're belittling me, we're done. That's it. I don't need that. There's too much positivity out there waiting for me. Why would I go through that? So the other thing is, if there's somebody like that, that person's gonna infiltrate the positivity, and it's gonna like, oh well, who the hell is Myron hanging out with, right? And it's also the power of your mind. It is everything. It is everything. What you think about daily is what comes out, is what becomes external, right? And it's very important you protect yourself, you protect your family, you protect your business family. Tyler says, time to take the trash out, folks. Exactly right. So I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I've never smoked a cigarette in my whole life, and I never will. But I did drink, and I had a beer in the fridge, and I poured it out. And I said, I'm done.
He didn't pour it out for the homies, by the way.
I did not pour it out for the homies. I poured it out to say, what is this? If you drink, that's fine. But I'm like, what is this thing doing for me? I need to find better ways. If I'm struggling mentally or whatever it is, I need to find better ways to combat that. It's not alcohol. It's something else that I'm not dealing with.
Ooh.
Deal with
fire.
that. Right. Deal with that thing. And it could just be, let that negative thought come in and say, okay, and just swipe. Done.
Cut it out.
Hey, it's there. I don't want to pay attention to it. So that's happened ever since I met you all.
Oh, the words.
Yep.
100%.
So it's been an amazing journey, Oscar. Thank you so much for basically grabbing Carolyn and I's hand and saying, y'all, come on, let's go. I appreciate you.
Thank you for those kind words.
And Joseph, obviously, but like we owe a lot to Oscar. I think we all do.
Yeah, Oscar's like the granddad. He's the grandpa that brought us all together. That's what happened.
Bro, I had some white hairs, but am I a grandfather or what, man?
That's funny.
No, it's cool because, like, guys, if you guys need like a session of like how to get your mindset straight, go ahead and book it with Myron, because he just spit out a bunch of gold right now. Like, it was like, focus on what you want. And if you don't know how to get there, he was once there. He'll teach you how to get there. And so he was like, doing all about mindset right now. It's incredible where he's been to where he is now. It's again Myron 3.0, and he's probably going to be 4.0 here next month because he's always growing. So it's amazing.
Hey, one more thing. It's really, I gotta say this because it's true. To Carolyn, hats off, my wife. I'm gonna say this, like she puts up with me because I had negative thoughts, right? I could be that negative person sometimes. I like to be very nice. I like to be positive, but when things go wrong, you know, I'm pretty analytical. I'm like black and white things, right? So like, why isn't that working? It should work like this. And she's like, Myron, the things that you've gone through, this is what she told me to do. Write it down. Those are my goals. So that's not what I'm doing, but write down on a piece of paper the things that have been in your past. This is what she told me to do. The things in your past you want to let go of forever. 3.0, go from 2.0 to 3.0. You can't do that. You can't go up unless you let something go. It's weighing you down. Write it down and burn it. Not wad it up and throw it away, but burn it. It will be forever gone, right? It'll change. It'll be gone. And I did that. I did that for like 2 weeks straight. Almost, I think it was 3 weeks straight, actually. I would write things down that I didn't like. And then I'd write things down that I wanted to be or I was. And I'd rip the page in half and I'd burn the part that I didn't want to be anymore. And I think that was the catalyst on the whole thing. And I think that is like why I'm in this room right now, because I started letting go of the stuff that didn't serve me. And now here we are. Anyways.
Preach it.
Preach.
And y'all thought y'all signed up for a little multifamily Q&A session, and y'all didn't know this was a mindset coaching session.
For real.
Bro, everything is mindset. Everything.
I feel like it goes hand in hand for sure.
It does go hand in hand. Absolutely.
Before people hop off, because it is getting late, join our Facebook group so you can join our underwriting Zoom on Friday. I just wanted to say.
Yes.
And then we can go through questions. But I also wanted to know Oscar and Aoni's side to the question.
You want to go first? Just like your number one takeaway throughout the whole journey.
Oh, I think for me, I think like KJ, like you said, KJ is actually like the group. So we've been through a lot in this journey, and we've met a lot of people as well. And I think I have that hesitation before, and he knows that. Like I'm like, if we ever gonna partner up with people, I really wanted it to be those people that's ready to jump with us, right? So I think like the this team had helped us a lot, and I never expected to actually meet people the same as me, like integrator. Like we always I think because we're so different, and I'm like, he thinks different, I think different. And I think meeting Joseph and Myron kind of like, okay, it makes sense.
There are people.
They get you.
Yeah, so I think that's like the biggest thing for me. And also having that goal that we're working on together kind of like really inspired me. Like every time, like now every time I underwrite, I'm like, okay, it's like I'm thinking about the team, right? Like KJ always sending I mean KJ is always sending deals, you know. Like KJ is calling brokers nonstop, and Oscar is calling brokers nonstop as well. So yeah, and Carolyn. So it's like I guess the feeling that everybody's working on that goal is amazing for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like my underwriting as well, right? That's what I'm like thinking when I'm underwriting. Is like I have to make sure like we'll go reach our goal, like the team.
I mean, I think in another way, like I look at it differently, and she's the same way. is because you guys are bringing so much fire into this team, it forces us to keep growing and get better, right? And we all hold each other accountable even without holding each other accountable, if that makes sense. Because sometimes you guys will come with fire questions that even Ione and I don't know, so we have to go seek out the answers. We have to consistently be getting better, even on the side when you guys aren't watching or when nobody's watching, right? We're still learning, we're still trying to grow because we need to be able to, not only us, but you guys are leaders too in your own respective. Like it's not just me or Ione leading the team, it's everyone leading the team. But we all have to be good at what we're doing. So for us, the biggest takeaway right now is that we have a team, just like she said, with a great bunch of people like you guys, but also doing it together and growing together and getting to that goal together. So that's the biggest thing, is that we get to do it, and we're gonna see. This is good that we're recording this right now because we're gonna get to see. Look, this is us back in August 8th, and then a year from now in July 2023, when we own 1,000 units, and when we were claiming it, and where we are now. So that's big, guys. So I'm happy that we're doing this now because we're putting it out there. So, if anybody, isn't, just hopefully this inspires somebody who's listening, right, and gets them on the right path. But it's all about that. It's the journey, and that's the biggest thing for us is that journey and where we are now, right? We didn't hear from Joseph though, right?
Man, I don't even know what's left to say, guys. Like,
Well, okay.
y'all-
Before you say that, but like, dude, I want to know how I can get into the party. That way I can be there with you beforehand.
Hey, you guys are all invited. Everyone here is invited. Don't worry, don't worry. When that party happens, y'all all be invited. Just stay tuned because it's coming. Stay tuned. At that our first A-class building, we're gonna host an event. We're just gonna throw down. That's what's gonna happen. I don't know where it's gonna be at. I don't have an exact address, but I know it's happening. 100%.
Yeah, bro. But I'd like to hear your side though. I mean, I heard KJ's. I want to hear what your takeaway, the biggest takeaway, and what's been the best in this journey so far.
Well, I hate to sound cliche, man, but honestly, I'd have to agree with you guys that it's really this group that I value the most out of this experience. Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about who we are and what our goals and what we want to accomplish, and we've gained confidence in ourselves. 100%, all of that is true. But what I guess cherish or value the most from this is the team, man. I mean, we've gone through KJ and I. We've gone through a couple relationships business wise, and that just haven't gone as great as we would have liked. And we've had some friends in the past, and they didn't quite vibe or mesh with what we were trying to do, and they weren't as supportive as you guys, man. Like, for example, I was totally fine in a conversation we were having earlier today, a little business conversation, and it didn't, go as favorable as I'm sure I would have liked. But then my boy Oscar calls me up. He's like, "Hey man, you good? I just want to make sure you're good because, you know, you seemed a little down. I just wanted to check in on you." I was like, "Bro, I'm like totally good. I'm fine. Like 100%. This is business. Like no emotion attached. Like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you reaching out." And he's like, "Bro, I just want to let you know you've got greatness in you, and you're going to keep growing, and I don't want you to stop learning. You can't stop learning. You need to keep learning." That's just one example, right? Byron's called me a couple of times. We just have a late night brainstorming session, right? It's just random things like that. Like these, you want to surround yourself with the right people, man. You want to surround yourself with the people that are going to get you to places you want to be. And if those people in your life, whether it's family or friends, freaking long lost cousin that you just met, if they're not bringing you the value that you're looking for in your life, they're not attracting the right stuff to you. Like KJ said, cut it out, right? Get them gone. Get them gone. You don't need that in your life. You got to Myron them. That's a little phrase we like. When you're just like putting down the business, this is it. There's no, if, ands, or buts. This is what I'm bringing to the table. You don't like it, you can leave the table. That's Myroning someone. That's Myron 3.0, man. He knows what he wants.
Business.
Yeah, it's all business. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's gonna get it. And if you're in the way, he's gonna kindly pick you up and move you out of the way. I mean,
he's gonna manhandle you.
100%. And without keeping you guys here too long, that's just the honest truth. Like, I don't know how else to say it. You guys, have said it maybe even better than I have, and I appreciate you guys. That's it. And KJ knows I'm not the words guy. No, 100% I'm not.
This is
I
the
can
most
talk on
I've
the phone.
heard.
I'm pretty good at selling something. I'm very good on the phones or dealing with people because I learned to. But that's not what I like to do. I like to just sit back and be elusive like Hayoni, lurking in the shadows, man, but getting the job done. That's what I like. I like that. I don't know. I appreciate you guys, and that's all I've got to say.
All I gotta say is he loves y'all a lot because I've never got that many words. That was a lot of words.
Don't lie.
No, I'm kidding, but that is a lot. When he says words, that means a lot.
KJ's like, man, he doesn't call me like that no more. He calls Myron at 2 o'clock in the morning. Man, I never got that.
Or he'd be calling Oscar too. I'm like, damn, where's my phone call?
You live with me. I don't have to call you. I just yelled to the other room right here. This is her room next door.
That's funny.
Hilarious. Did y'all want to answer the last few questions, if any, in the chat before we end it?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
I did see one from Joelle that we should touch on, I think. Let me see. Here we go. Where did it go, man?
My mom's in the house. Hi, Mama.
Oh, Oscar's mom. What's up? You're basically our mom too now. I hope you prove up some white children. Okay, let me. Oh, man, I know I saw a question.
I pulled up one.
Let's just shoot through these real quick, Joseph.
That's what I was looking for. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. Go for it, bro.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna touch on it, man. It's definitely not impossible to hop directly into multifamily. Now I don't know 100% about your background, but I have seen what you've done so far since following us, and you've been crushing it, man. You've been doing it. You've been getting it done, and that's 100% what real estate is, right? It's action taking first, and then relationships. It's all what it's based on. If you're not taking action, nothing's going to happen. So to answer the question, yes, it absolutely can be done. But would it be easier understanding and having done some single family? Yes, it definitely would be. But the fundamentals are all the same. It's pretty much the same. There's just a couple different, lingos and jargons and things. And the fact that you have a support system or people that are already doing it and giving out free value definitely helps make it a little easier for sure. So I hope that answers the question. Yeah, I do have one solid lender that I had a really good conversation with. I don't want to just post that on here because I don't want to get blown up from a bunch of people. But if you want to reach out to me on Instagram or something, it's my Instagram tag is my name. If you want to reach out to me there, I can definitely have a chat with you about that. But he only does commercial lending and a minimum of $1 million loan.
I think that's all the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to pull that one up too. Boy, Oscar's been needing a fresh cut for so long. Hey, but no worries, man. I'm right there with you. KJ was stopping on me for like a solid 2 months.
Yep.
I'm about to again too.
And Myron.
Sort of wear the hat.
All right, guys. I think we're going to end it here. We've been on here for almost 2 hours. And thank you for everyone who's watching. Thank you, everyone who stuck around for the entire session. Guys, if you have any questions or any concerns or anything, feel free to reach out to any of us. I think they've put our link there in our Facebook group. Join that group. If you have any deals, submit them in our Podio. And if you want to connect with anyone, everyone has their Instagram handles on the screen. So connect with Joseph if you have any lender questions. Connect with Myron if you want some amazing mindset stuff, and connect with KJ if you want to learn how to talk to brokers and get into multifamily. We can set something up. Don't forget about this Friday coming up. We have a underwriting session that's going to be led by Joseph, the underwriter. And if we have anything in
guest appearance from Ione.
a special guest appearance from Ione, maybe if we get enough fires in the chat between now and then, we might have her.
Y'all
we
need some fires in the chat.
We need some fires in the chat to get her there.
I'm about to put fires in the chat right now.
I know,
Right?
no fires in the chat, then we might make it happen, guys. You might
Let's get it. Let's make it happen.
And so yeah, if you guys have anything like that, did I miss any other announcements, KJ?
We got fires in the chat. Inner office hours.
We are doing a live on Friday morning as well before the underwriting Zoom. So there's the Zoom and then we do lives, but we don't want to post underwriting stuff since we do sign NDAs and things like that. We don't want to post financials for deals on our live, which is why we do it as a Zoom. And also we want to be able to interact with people a little better. But in the morning, I think like 2 hours before the underwriting Zoom, we're going to do a weekly recap. So we're going to go over all the good, bad, and ugly of everything that we go through during the week, whether it be deals or just things we stumble upon or like things that we do really well. We're going to just start doing that every Friday. That way you guys can follow along with our journey. And then also it'd be cool just for us to document this stuff. So then one day we can look back and see. But you can also bring your questions there as well. But I think that's all the announcements.
Myron, did you have any last words?
No, thank you, KJ. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us for 2 hours. And I would love it. I do have something to say. I just made it up. But I would love for everybody, the next live, to share us on social media. I'd like to see a lot more viewers, a lot more people getting in with us, and let's do more deals together. So thank you.
All right, that's it. Anything else?
No.
Good. All right, we're good, guys. Thank you so much.
Out.
Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate you guys all. Continue watching the journey because we're going to get there. That goal's in sight. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.